Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in another video today. And today, the Los Angeles Lakers have made two big hires to add to JJ Redick's coaching staff. And I got to say, I absolutely love these hires right here. Scott Brooks and Nate McMillan. And I'm going to say this I'm not someone who disagrees with the decision to hire JJ Redick, because I think he's going to be a good head coach. But I also think it's either going to be really good and the Lakers are going to have a lot of success, or it's going to be a complete crap show and he's going to suck. I think it's either one, I don't think there's anything in the middle of it. But this is either going to be a huge success story, and it'd be similar to something like Steve Kerr, because if you look at Steve Kerr, who's now recognized as one of the best head coaches of all time and most success of all time as well, outside of guys like Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich. Steve Kerr is up there with Popovich and Jackson as top coaches of all time. And, he didn't have any coaching experience. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about that. And look what he did. He went and coached a Warriors team that had a lot of talent with Curry and Clay and Draymond. Eventually Durant, joined as well, and won 4 championships with the Golden State Warriors and won a Coach of the Year award. And you know what he was doing before he got hired? Media. He was working with TNT. I mean, Redick was working with ESPN, but they were doing the same thing. So I think it's either going to be really successful, or it's going to turn into something really bad. The Lakers are going to tear everything apart, which means probably firing JJ, firing Rob Pelinka, and going into a rebuild. I hope it doesn't come to that, but I think it's either one or either. I just don't see it being anything in the middle. But I like the JJ hire. But if you're going to hire someone with no coaching experience whatsoever at all, what you need to do is to build a strong staff around JJ Redick with people who have had coaching experience. And that is exactly what the Los Angeles Lakers are doing here. Look, I'm going to go over Nate McMillan first, and then I'll go over Scott Brooks. These are both guys who have a lot of head coaching experience in their careers. Nate McMillan has been a coach since the 1999-2000 season with the Seattle Supersonics. He was with them for 2 seasons as assistant coach, then became their head coach for a total of 5 seasons. And he becomes their head coach for 5 seasons, coaches them for 395 games, and they go 212 and 183. Then he ends up getting fired, gets a head coaching job in Portland, and with Portland, he becomes their head coach for 7 seasons, 535 games coached there, when they go 266 and 269. Then he gets fired by them, or actually I don't know what happened in Portland. I know he got fired by Seattle, but I don't know if they parted ways or he got fired. He goes and joins Indiana. He becomes an associate head coach with Indiana for 3 seasons, and then becomes the Indiana Pacers head coach for 4 seasons. 4 seasons with Indiana, he coached 319 games and the team won 183 and 136. They fired him after the 2019-20 season. He goes to Atlanta in the 2020-21 season, becomes assistant coach, and then coaches the Atlanta Hawks for 3 seasons after they fire their head coach. And 3 seasons with the Atlanta Hawks, not full seasons, because for his first season as the head coach, he took over for whoever was their head. I think they fired Lloyd Pierce, and he became the head coach, coached the last 38 games, and then coached the full season in 21-22 season. They went 43 and 39, and then Atlanta fired him 59 games into their season and ended up hiring Quinn Snyder in 2022-23 season. So 3 seasons, but more like 2 full seasons with the Atlanta Hawks. The team went 99 and 80. So but I really think that Nate McMillan brings a lot of coaching experience. He's coached 1,428 games as a head coach with his 760 and 668 record. And now let's get to Scott Brooks. Scott Brooks, who has maybe more of a head coaching. Well, not really. Not more of a coaching background, but at the same time, great head coaching experience as well in the league. So he starts off coaching in 2003-2004 season. He becomes an assistant coach for quite a while. Denver for 3 seasons, then joins Sacramento in 2006-07 season. Goes to Seattle, just where Nate McMillan was for a season in 2007-08 season, and then his final stop as an assistant coach was with the Oklahoma City Thunder in the 2008-2009 season. In that same 2008-2009 season, that eventually becomes a job for him as they fire their current head coach. He would stay with the Thunder for 7 seasons. With the Oklahoma City Thunder, he would be their head coach until they brought in Billy Donovan after the 2014-15 season. But in 7 seasons with OKC, he had in 545 games, they had a record of 338 and 207. They even went to an NBA Finals and many playoff trips. Many playoff trips. Then after they fire him in the 2016-17 season, he takes a year off in the 2015-16 season, joins the Washington Wizards, and he becomes their head coach for a total of 5 seasons. In 5 seasons with Washington, it was up and down. They had a couple playoff trips. And even though a couple playoff trips, they fire him after the 2020-21 season. 5 seasons with Washington, 390 games coached, 183 wins, 207 losses. Last 3 years, he has been an assistant coach for the Portland Trailblazers under Chauncey Billups, and now he is getting hired by the Lakers. So you hire one guy who has 521 wins as a head coach, and you hire another who has 760. So these are 2 guys who have over 1,200 wins as NBA head coaches and have been experienced coaches since, assistant and head coach, and being an assistant and a head coach for the last 20 years. Both of these guys, well, Nate McMillan longer. He's been a coach since 1999. So for him, 25 years. Scott Brooks is a little bit over 20 at 21. So these are 2 guys who have these are 2 guys who have a lot of experience as head coaches and assistant coaches, and really that is something you could definitely use for a guy like JJ Redick who has no experience coaching at all. So these are 2 guys that are going to come in and help JJ with things that are going to be hard for him as a new head coach. And maybe I'm just going to say it because JJ, I'm not going to say he's soft because I don't think he is, but at the same time, for a coach that is not very experienced in the league, and he's coming in coaching considered one of the best players of all time, who's actually older than him, having a voice like Nate McMillan or a voice like Scott Brooks, 2 guys who have been in the NBA for a while as head coaches, you could maybe use those guys as discipline guys potentially. When the team is, because I heard JJ saying something like he told some of the players not to call him Coach Redick or Coach, to call him JJ. That definitely made me feel a little weird. I'm like, that's not something that's like telling the players, yeah, I'm cool, y'all can just lack off. So Nate McMillan and Scott Brooks aren't going to F around, and these 2 guys are going to be able to teach new things to JJ Redick, and I believe they will be great mentors for JJ. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out.